Hello boys and girls, welcome to the Math Club. In this video, we're going to talk about the y-intercept and how to find the y-intercept and even the x-intercept and how to find the x-intercept. Now, before we start, we have to understand what's the meaning of the y-intercept. Now, the y-intercept is where a line crosses the y-axis. So if you have two axes like these, wait, let me show you. Okay. If you have two axes like this, one of them is here, one of them is here. Now, this one is the y-axis, and the other one is the x-axis. So if I have a line that crosses like this, it crosses the x-axis here. We call this the x-intercept. And it crosses the y-axis here, and we call it the y-intercept. So the idea of the y-intercept is the point where the line crosses the y-axis, and the x-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis. Very good. Now, when we talk about the y-intercept, it means that the x is always 0. So in the y-intercept, the x is always 0. And it's the opposite for the x-intercept, where is the y 0. So that's easy to understand because on the graph or on the grid or on the axis, you can see that the point has, for example, the y-axis, y-intercept, it has a point where x is always 0 because the point is always on the y-axis, and the opposite for the x-axis. Now, let's see some questions so we can understand the meaning of this key point. In this question, question 8, match the equations to their graphs. Now, how do we know if the equation is the same as the line here? We have to find the y-intercept. Very good. And by finding the y-intercept, we look at the equation. We circle the y-intercept, for example, here, plus 1. And then we find it on the y-axis. This is the idea of finding the y-intercept. Now, for example, for the first equation, the y-intercept is plus 1. So we come to the y-axis and look for plus 1. Now, on the y-axis, plus 1 is here. Which line is crossing plus 1? I think it's not accurate here because this is plus 1. I think it's in the book it's more accurate. But I think it's, yes, it's not that accurate because here we should have a line that crosses plus 1 and it's D. Yeah, it's D. So here we write D next to it. Okay? And then with this equation, what is the y-intercept? Very good. It's plus 2. Now we take a look at the y-axis. We will find that plus 2 is here, and it's crossed by the purple line. And the purple line is, very good, it's E. So we come to the equation, and we write E next to it. Good job. Now the next one is negative 1. The y-intercept is negative 1. Good job. Now let's take a look at the equations here on the lines. We find negative 1, which is here, and the blue line is crossing negative 1. So we are looking for the blue line. The blue line is B. Very good. So we take it and write it here. It's B. Good job. Now, next equation is this one. Now, as you can see here, there is no y-intercept. So the y-intercept is what? It's 0. Very good. So it means it's crossing the 0 point. Now let's take a look at the 0 point here. Now as I can see, the 0 point is crossed by the green line. So I will write the green line, which is C. Very good. So I come to the equation and write C. Next equation, the y-intercept is what? Very good. It's negative 2. Now, I will look for -2 on the y-axis, which is here, and it's crossed by the brown line. And the brown line is what? Very good, it's F. So I will write F here. Very good. Now the last one is what? Very good. It's +4. Now the line that crosses +4 on the y-axis is very good, the red line. Now let's take a look at the red line. Very good. It's A. Now I will write A here. Good job. So basically the idea, how do we find equations and match them to the lines? We just find the y-intercept and then find it on the y-axis and then match the equation to its line. And this is how you answer a question like this. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.